Today I'll show you my list of everyday carry knives that are so good. I would seriously pay double for any of them. And as usual, the links to buy, the prices, even the coupon codes will all be listed for you down in the description. And if this is your first time here, hey, thanks for stopping. My name is Jay. Now go ahead and consider subscribing if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. All right, let's go ahead and get started with number 10. I've got from Harns. This is the Assassin. You know, I still don't know how they got the action like so good on this knife. I mean, that detent is perfect. And it just absolutely, no matter how hard I try, I can't get it to fail on the opening. And then the closing, look at that. It's so smooth. Doesn't even require a shake. I got to do that one more time because it's so much fun. I am really glad that they went with such a good budget steel in the 14C28N Sandvik. And I honestly forgot how big that this thing is with an overall open length, almost 9 inches. Yet they were able to keep that weight under 4 ounces, which, man, I got to say, that's pretty impressive. Number 9, this is going to be a Kizer. It's the Vanguard version of the Sheepdog. Now, with all the different versions of this knife out there, you know, I got to say that this is by far my favorite. And, you know, it's got the micarta scales with a black washed 154 cm blade. And then, of course, the thumb hole deployment, which I really do like more than the flipper tab, because I like having like all these different opening options, because, you know, you can either go ahead and just like flick it, or you can go ahead, if you feel like it, if you got to be more discreet, do a slow roll, or even the Spidey flick is possible. Now, without that flipper, you can really choke up and just get nice and close to that blade when you're doing like some controlled cutting. And now I know that this is kind of a minor thing for some of you, but I really do. I just love that like extra wide pocket clip, because you know, it kind of fits perfectly with the whole design of this knife. Number 8, Petrified Fish. This is the PF949 Warrior. You know, this company has they've made so many great knives. It really was tough to just, you know, pick one of them for this list. So I just went with the Warrior here because, you know, to me it feels, and it even looks like it should cost way more money than it actually does. I mean, it has features you normally just don't see on knives, you know, that are in this $50 price range. I mean, stuff like the micarta scales and the ceramic ball bearing pivot. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I mean, it even has like that crown spine. Now, even the action here, though, is top shelf. I mean, it was dropping shut right out of the box, and I still can't get this to fail on the deployment, and I've really been trying. Number 7 is going to be from a company called IKIV. This is the G02. Now, I had a little bit of a scare with this knife because I thought that it was no longer on Amazon, because for a long while I couldn't find it. If you couldn't tell, this design, heavily influenced by like the Benchmade Bug Out. It's, you know, it's medium in size with a thinner blade stock. And this also has just like, look at that action. It is just excellent in both directions, with some Omega springs inside they're super strong, which I really like. I mean, they even feel stronger than springs inside of some of my actual Benchmades. And that's just crazy considering this is a $25 knife. The one frustrating thing about this is the one position pocket clip, because, you know, if it wasn't for that, this thing would be completely ambidextrous. And the fit and finish is really good. It's kind of on par with, your standard Ganzo Firebird knives, which is good. Number 6, about a Civivi? Yep, that's the Praxis. Now, this is proof right here that, Civivi, they were just killing it like right out of the gate, because this was one of the first knives they released, and I think it's still one of their best. Now, I realize that the 9CR steel isn't all that exciting, but that kind of shows you how good of a design this is, because, this knife still remains popular, even with that super budget blade steel. And another reason for its success is going to be the incredible blade to handle ratio, which makes this full-size knife seem a heck of a lot smaller than it actually is. I mean, this is a big boy with a 3.75 inch blade that they were able to fit into a 4.7 inch handle. Now that this is available in so many different versions, I mean, different colors, flavors, whatever you want to call it, I would love to know which one is your favorite, because I can tell you right now, mine is, well, this one with the black blade and the OG green G10 scales. I just love that color combination. Number 5, it's going to be another Kizer. This is the Tauser K. You know what I just noticed? I totally forgot how similar that this is to the sheepdog that I showed you a couple minutes ago. I mean, you can see they both have cleaver blades in 154 cm. I mean, both of these are liner locks with micarta scales, and they're practically both the same exact size. I mean, the Tauser K, though, it does have a few advantages over the sheepdog. I mean, this has a 2-position deep carry clip, and when it's closed in pocket, this thing it's not nearly as wide as the sheepdog. And that's not even the best part, because the Tauser at $69, that is going to be about $10 less than this sheepdog. Number 4, this is going to be a monster from Cold Steel. It's the SR1. I now have the one in S35 VN, and this spot here is really going to be more for that budget version, with the 8CR steel, because at around $40, I mean, that's just a heck of a deal. And regardless though of which version you get, I mean, it's going to be just one huge chunk of steel that really can handle some harder use. Now, it's not really, this is not really the type of knife that, you would fidget with, but the action is actually, you got to give it a little bit of wrist, but the action is actually pretty good for a back lock. And that mid-mounted triad lock just makes this so easy, to go ahead and operate this knife completely one-handed, and that's something that's really important for me. Number 3, this is going to be the Rat 2 from Ontario Knife Company. Well, this is arguably one of the most popular budget knives of all time. I mean, I get asked a lot about which version of this is best to buy, in the AUS 8 here or D2. Now, if you don't know how to sharpen yet, you may want to just stick with the AUS 8, because it is going to be a heck of a lot easier to sharpen than D2, because D2 is a harder steel. Now, another way that you could look at it is that, since D2 will stay sharp a heck of a lot longer than AUS 8, but also, it's going to take you a lot more work when the time does come to sharpen it. Number 2, I'm not even going to try flicking this thing open on camera, because I always mess it up. From K-Bar, it's the Dozier Hunter. Now, this spot is definitely for the AUS 8 version, because, well, if you go ahead and double the cost of the one in D2, that would put you around like what, $80, and that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, this one is like one of the best $20 knives that you can buy, and period. And that hollow ground spear point is, I mean, not only is it good looking, but this thing really does cut well. And, since these knives just cost so little, if you break it or lose it, hey, no sweat. Just go out, buy another one. Now, before I go ahead and show you my number one, I got two honorable mentions. The first one is from Kershaw. It is the Launch 11 automatic. Now, I put this one here because it's an automatic, and I know that, that some of you can't legally carry these. And even though, this knife it's got like about a 2.75 inch blade. I mean, it's a little bit smaller than what I usually like to carry, but I think that it's the perfect size for like a non-threatening automatic, that you can go ahead and whip out in public, and you're not really going to scare anyone. And if you don't own one of these yet, you may want to check out that new Blade HQ exclusive version that actually it's got a 20 CV blade instead of the CPM 154 that I have here. I mean, that's a pretty nice upgrade to 20 CV, and that's like $20 more than this. And the other one is going to be from Ganzo Firebird. It's the FH41. This is still like one of my all-time favorite Ganzo Firebird designs. I mean, I even love this cute little mini version that they put out, but I love the blade shape and the action, of course, the price, basically just everything about it. Now, a while back, there was a subscriber sent me a picture of a modification that they did to their FH41. And what he ended up doing was drilling a hole through the blade and putting in some thumb studs. And that thing was just beautiful. I mean, it made that knife perfect. All right, you ready to see it? My number one favorite everyday carry knife that I would pay double for. It's going to be a new one from Kizer. This is the Mini Roach. Even before I bought this, I was pretty confident I was going to like it because I've always been like a big fan of this, the full-size version, which unfortunately was recently discontinued. And they did go ahead and they made some big changes, though, to this smaller one. And you can see, instead of the, well, almost full flat ground blade, it is now, they now gave it a hollow grind, which does make this an excellent slicer. And now it has the two different opening options using either that flipper tab, or you've also got the thumb hole, which, let's try that Spidey flick. Oh yeah, that's really easy to do. And speaking of that flipper, it is actually, let me open it up because then you can really see it. Yeah, you see the line there? It is actually, it's removable, but to take this thing off, you actually have to completely take it up. Well, not completely take it apart, but halfway take it apart at least. You have to take off the clip side scale to get to it, because it's attached on the inside by a little torque screw. And then check out these like G10 scales. You see they've got like it's like a honeycomb pattern. And even though, that pattern, they do look exactly the same, on the clip side of this handle, it has a very aggressive texture to it, while the show side does not. It's actually pretty smooth. First time I've ever experienced a knife like that, where one side was much rougher than the other. And, to me, it seems kind of backwards, because there's a good chance that this aggressive texture, you know, it's going to start to shred up your pocket, you know, once you're taking this in and out. But hey, at least, you know, the out of box action, opening it is pretty good. Closing, yeah, it could be a little bit better. Right about now, there's a video up on the screen that I personally picked out for you to go ahead and watch next. And hey, if you haven't already, you know, consider subscribing. I got to run though. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. And I'll see you at the next video. Take care.